box.
So
Okay.
this is a Disney film, right?
Yeah.
It's a
yeah,
Wall-E,
yeah. I've noticed. Okay, so
Conspiracy?
let me get to that. This is gonna be quite interesting. It's a bit of a rabbit hole I've been exploring lately. So Danny told me, I think at the start, no, not the start, probably late last year. He goes, Eric, have you seen Mandalorian? I said, Mandalorian, what? Disney Plus. I said, why? Why should I? He goes, check it out. It's got all the Marvel and all the Disney films there. And I said, it took me a while, and then I kind of caved in just for the sake of it. And then I got it. I after I saw Mandalorian, naturally I explored like all the other Disney films. As I'm going through all the Disney films, I'm looking into. I've noticed a lot of psychology behind a lot of those.
It's just not a simple fairy tale.
If you look into a majority of Disney films from, I would say the 60s, 70s, 80s to now, all right, they're dealing a lot with a lot of truth. So with bridging onto what Miguel's saying, that is a possibility, with that idea of where that conceptual idea of what society will be. Then, if I had to go even further back, this whole thing with Pinocchio, I explored that whole archetype and whatnot. And Pinocchio is actually, if it was broken down, they say that Geppetto was God, Jiminy Cricket is like Jesus, and Pinocchio is essentially the potential from what a kid could be to what will be.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it explores ethical grounds of it. So, for example, when Pinocchio lies or does something wrong, what happens?
His nose grows.
Nose grows, right? But for him to actually, he starts off as a wooden puppet, right? For him to go away from being a wooden puppet, he has to face his fears,
Yeah.
rescue his dad in the depths of the sea to find a whale where his dad is, and that whale is essentially breathing fire. That theme is explored all the time. You can see that same theme in Moana,
Yeah.
which is fucking mind-blowing,
Mm.
to say the least. You can also see that theme in Sleeping Beauty. There's always that, for you to actually like unlock your full potential, you have to face your fear all the time. There's always that underlying theme behind it.
That leads on to that to a question. I want to why do you think? I guess Disney's perfected that, telling that story, that archetype story.
Yeah.
But humans love to replay that story over. They love
Correct.
to live through that story.
Correct. Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah. So here's another thing. So the Lion King, you kind of notice that all these stories, right? It doesn't make sense in your head when you think about it. All right? There's a wooden puppet talking. That doesn't make sense. Then let's move forward to the Lion King. Lion King, when it came out, was one of the most popular films ever.
Yeah.
It was an animated film. Why do you think that was so popular?
Oh, they fully stole that idea.
Correct. Where from?
Japan.
Incorrect. It's actually based from the mythology in Egypt.
From
This
the
is new to me.
scripture. Yeah, from the
New to me.
hieroglyphic
So,
stuff. Yep, you're
no,
right.
not hieroglyphic stuff. We're talking about Horus. We're talking about Seth. Seth essentially is Scar.
I've heard of these names, Horus and Seth.
Horus,
I've
They're
heard
the
of-
if you
Egyptian
look-
gods.
They're the Egyptian
Oh,
gods.
right.
They're Egyptian gods.
And what is he the god of?
Horus is the all-seeing eye. Okay.
Oh
and
man, I was listening to Mythos.
Yes,
Mythos by
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of these, essentially, all these stories, and if you look at the Egyptian mythology, it's older than Christianity.
Yeah.
It is. But then the derivation of that gets twisted a little bit and then becomes Christianity. Seth essentially becomes Satan in Christianity.
Right.
When you look at it, Seth is also known as Satan in that regard. So there's a lot of, the reason why people kind of gravitate to it is because they realize in their own psyche, I know that story. I've seen that before. people gravitate to it, they buy that, and then all of a sudden they're blown away by it.
Huh.
So if you look into all, going back to my first point, if you look into all Disney films, and I've been exploring it starting from Pinocchio, bloody Lion King, as I mentioned, Sleeping Beauty, all of this, it pays weight to something. Even the latest one I saw was Coco. I watched Coco. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it.
Is it new?
I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it now. It was released, I do believe, in 2016 or 2018. Coco.
Disney Channel?
Disney Channel, correct. Now, when you see this, it's essentially this boy that his whole family comes from a long line of musicians. But because of the fact that there's this guy who's that character will be introduced, and I don't want to ruin it too much. He goes away from it, and he travels the world to become a famous musician. The family that he leaves behind then rebels, goes, no music, no fucking music whatsoever. And then generations pass, they actually become people that they just start making shoes. All of a sudden, towards the very end of that line is this little boy who believes he's a musician. And he's going, why can't I be a musician? Why do I need to be why do I need to be making shoes, essentially? So on the Day of the Dead, which is, it's based in Mexico. So Day of the Dead, naturally everybody
I
was
think I remember, yeah,
I think I remember. Yeah.
On the
Cinco
Day
de
of the
Mayo.
Dead, there was a big talent show. His grandmother doesn't want him to go into it. But deep inside him, we talked about this, there's something instinctive in him. He then decides to rebel, wants to go into the talent show, looks for a guitar. He figures out essentially that one of the, like in the village, there's this, there's an idol that a very famous musician. In his head, he believes that that's his grandfather. So he goes into his gravesite, finds the guitar, strums the guitar, and lo and behold, he all of a sudden exists in the land of the dead. That freaked me out because if you look into it, they actually structured how the land of the dead exists. And what it is if you remember people from when they died, the dead can come back and visit you, so they exist. But if you fail to remember them, they experience a second death.
The loss.
No, the person that is the soul of the dead, if it's not remembered over time by all their loved ones, experiences the second death, which basically gets wiped out from any sort of existence. Now, I don't know if there's any truth in that, but as I mentioned, as I've looked into all these Disney films, there seems to be a truth conveyed in each one.
Pattern.
Yeah, it's like, why do they create these stories? What is the underlying thinking behind it? Why is it that when we watch these stories, they're so captivating that we can't help but watch it? And that freaks me out. So essentially, when you, especially with this one, towards the end of the film, there's this dead person there, and the boy kind of gravitates towards him, and they're trying to make sure that he gets remembered so he doesn't experience a second death. And there's a song called "Remember Me" that this guy wrote for his daughter. And the reason why he wrote that is so that way he doesn't get forgotten, so that way he doesn't experience that second death.
Yeah.
If you watch, I saw it. Obviously, I'm a dad now. I cried so much. Oh my god. I had to see it twice.
Coco.
Nah, this dude that for me. It's gonna be
Coco.
Don Joker
Coco.
again.
Yeah.
No way I'm gonna rewatch this.
Oh.
Let's just watch Baywatch, bro.
But anyway, Van Damme is in the top 10.
Listen
Okay,
here.
so we're in the Van Damme.
We're in the
okay,
Van Damme.
Okay,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, let's go. Let's
Let's
go with the
So
Van Damme.
what was your initial statement of this?
Let's go.
Man, I've watched like a Van Damme movie every Friday for like the last.
And
4 or 5
wait,
What's your
what's the
favorite?
top 10? What do you mean? He's the top 10 in what?
In, like,
what
just-
category?
top 10 like just martial art movie, like action movie legend. Sorry.
Hang on. Let's do one better. What's your top 10 Van Damme films? Or top 5? Let's go.
I'll do top 3 only.
Okay, let's go.
Wait, can I just
Let's
tell
go.
you?
Yeah,
I
go.
just watched a Van Damme movie,
Which one?
Bloodsport.
Yeah, the
Right.
best one.
Hang on a sec. Hang on a
Bloodsport
sec.
is the best one.
I beg to differ. Lionheart's for me.
Wait, are we talking
yeah,
about the
yeah.
acting? Are we talking about Van Damme's acting? Oh,
I mean, it's not
fuck the
good.
acting.
It's not
It's
good,
not about
but
that.
you don't watch Van Damme for the acting.
It's
But
about
like-
that split or that kick that he does, and then that
fucking
leg
dick-
just
the
stays
dick
in
punching.
the air.
He does a lot
Oh,
of
so we're
dick-
talking about the actual because his acting's horrible.
It's
Absolutely
terrible.
But
okay,
then-
cool,
yeah.
cool. Because
No,
when he
it's
said top
not.
10, I was like, the hell are we watching the same
I mean, like-
movie? What the hell are we watching?
you can't really rate these action movies like on
No,
a
you
good
can't.
movie scale.
No,
but
you
you watch
can't.
it, you're like,
But you watch it.
fuck yeah.
Yeah, and you want it to be them.
In the
That's
Kumite.
correct.
You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
You want to be them.
What's the one that his brother was he was
Bloodsport.
kicking the
Was it
That's-
the twins? Double impact.
Double impact. Double
no,
impact.
like the guy was kicking the column. He's kicking his legs.
That's Bloodsport, Tong Po. No, that's
That's kickboxer?
That's kickboxer.
kickboxer.
Tong Po.
Was that kickboxing?
Yeah, that's
kickboxing,
That's a good
That's
one.
been redone again by Dave Batista and
What
was
was
horrible.
Dave Batista doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
Tong Po.
GSP was there.
JSP was that.
It was
yeah.
horrible.
That was
That
a
sounds
horrible
terrible.
They
movie.
shouldn't watch. They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
Horrible.
so Tong Po.
Absolutely horrible.
That sounds bad. I don't
The best one for me and
Street Fighter.
no, that was the
No,
crappiest
no,
one.
yeah.
no, no.
I was
Yeah,
with.
Kylie Minogue was in that.
It was Dolph Lundgren, the Universal Soldier.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yes.
Dolph Lundgren was in
Yeah,
Universal Soldier.
because
as
the
well.
reason why when they did that,
That's a
then they
piece of
had the
shit.
magazine out. So remember they had the scene like the Terminator when Arnold came out from the future. He's all naked, right?
Yeah,
Terminator.
yeah.
So they also the same scene that they have when with the because remember there was a Vietnam War, then they
Okay.
were frozen for the future, right?
Yeah.
Right. So when they send
yeah,
the book
yeah,
out,
yeah. Keep going.
when they send the book out, apparently how they done it, like they were naked and they just plastered their balls. Like
What?
Yeah, and this is the reason why I love them.
Are you watching the same Universal Soldier
because
Hang
how
on a
they
second. Hang on a second. Of all the things that you noticed, why did you notice that?
because that was the reason why I researched it. I go, what the fuck? I go research it, and you could look at Google how they remade it and how they can become naked, and they only plastered their penis and their balls, literally like. That's the reason. Okay, this is a
What?
good movie.
What?
This is a good movie. I go, okay, that's how they done it. I thought it was CGI. No, it's not. Yeah.
Well, my favorite Van Damme
Yeah.
is definitely Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
It's got to be. It's got to be either Bloodsport or Double Impact.
Nah.
Because Double Impact is just real
just
out there. Do you remember that
corny.
one?
What's the one that he's dancing in the thing?
That's kickboxer.
That's kickboxer.
I love
Shit.
kickboxing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy.
Kickboxer, bro.
That's
I
kickboxer.
think that's not one. Is that number one for
It
you?
can't be like number one if Bloodsport exists.
Okay.
Time Cop
no
was
way.
apparently was the biggest one for him.
The mind, you blow my mind because the way that you just that statement is like,
It can't be number
it
one.
can't be number one if
Bloodsport
Bloodsport's
exists.
there. It's just
real.
that's it.
For me, I guess for me it was Lionheart. I don't know if you have you guys
Yeah.
seen
Is
Lionheart?
that the
Yeah,
one where he's
Lion.
like in the streets?
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
the reason why I like Lionheart is this. All right. So I lived in Baguio in the Philippines,
Yeah.
right? And we had to go to Manila every December because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
All right. So the trip from Baguio to Manila is usually a 4-hour bus ride. Okay. So
Back then, yep.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
back then,
It
back
is.
then, back
Yeah,
then,
back then.
back
It's
then.
a little faster now. And you know how airplanes right now or anything else, you've got movies, right?
Yeah.
So this is back in the 90s, clearly. And it's the first time that they had TVs on the buses.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like right
So
at the end.
that's right.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
watching, we're watching that. And I remembered watching Lionheart going down.
On
And
the
I was,
VCD.
yeah, and I was a young boy then. And what's the premise of Lionheart is I can't remember the story, but he has to almost do gladiator style fighting in the streets.
That's sick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I'll
Watch
watch
it
that later
again.
tonight. It's
Watch
on
it again.
Amazon.
but
It's on
yeah,
Amazon.
yeah, yeah.
is his acting good there?
The acting's horrible,
It's bad, bro.
but
I can't
but-
do it.
you know, like he has to progress from one fight to the next.
Did he do the splits in it?
Yes, he did. And the fighting was, the very final villain that he fought was named Attila. and the
Yeah.
guy had a
Was it Bolo Young?
no, it wasn't Bolo Young. It was some sort of Turkish guy, and he had a mullet,
Yeah.
and he had really thick sideburns.
Yeah.
And it was cool to watch it. Just I guess seeing that progress, and that's how one of the reasons why I fell in love with martial
Okay.
arts. So
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna watch that later tonight.
watch it.
Lionheart.
Lionheart. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite catchphrase
Of what?
of Van Damme?
I can't say.
I was
it's
so
a
gonna
lot.
cry.
yeah,
I was
that,
can't
that's,
recall,
that,
but-
that's yeah.
That's fine.
there's a bit in this like there's a bit in like
Yeah.
there's a bit in Bloodsport that really fucking gets me. He's like Van Damme's on it. I was talking to Corey the other day about this.
Yeah.
It's just like the start of like Bloodsport where like everyone's sort of training for the Kumite.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, I heard you going to Hong Kong. And the other guy was like, and the guy was just like, yeah. And he's just like, I heard you can die in that. And he's like,
Only if
oh, you only fuck up. And then the guy's like, oh. Like that like gets me so much because this encompasses how like these movies are. It's like pure
Yeah.
machismo.
Sure.
But like,
wait. How about the one when the guy's on the like Street Fighter thing, right?
Yeah.
On the arcade thing.
yeah.
And then he looks at Van Damme's just like looking creepily over his shoulder and he goes, You want a piece of this?
Yeah. Like, doesn't make any sense either. Like,
Doesn't make any
Which
sense.
movie is this one? Street
this is
Fighter.
Bloodsport.
Ah.
And I'm like, and Van Damme's like, yeah. I'm like,
Where was Bolo Young? Which
Bolo Young
He
was in
there.
Bloodsport. as
Bloodsport.
well.
He was the first.
Yeah.
And he was in Double Impact.
Let's talk about iconic villain, right? Bolo Young when he did
That was mad, bro.
and the way he looked.
Dude,
He was
that's
ripped.
Bolo Young.
But you know,
he was
he's-
he was a
big dude, bro.
bodybuilder.
Yeah.
He was a bodybuilder.
can I look up Bolo Young?
Yeah,
How do you
he's
spell
sick
Bolo
now, man.
Young?
He's sick. He's really old now.
B-O-L-O-Y-E-U-N-G.
He was in Enter. He was also in Enter the
Enter the
Dragon.
Dragon.
He was in
Yeah,
Enter the
yeah,
Dragon.
Oh, he was the Enter the Dragon
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah,
Is
when
that the
he
guy
was
that
young.
he didn't kick Bruce Lee in the back, is he? Is that the guy?
The big guy.
Bolo
big
Young.
guy.
Bolo Young.
He actually shows up in the Bruce Lee
Was
movie.
it Enter the Dragon?
He was in
Yeah,
Enter the
yeah,
Dragon.
yeah,
Enter-
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but Bolo Young when he did this whole thing,
That was sick.
that was copied.
Oh, okay.
He started that. I mean, even to this day, Bolo Young's still around.
Old trash.
Yeah, it's really old, man. I've seen
He's
this
an
one.
old man, but he's still
Yeah, right.
Vice.
He looks really good for his
still
age.
good.
to be honest with you. He's
And,
like,
yeah. So
Bolo Young.
Yeah.
Going back to Bloodsport, the only thing when he goes, when he did the Dimnak.
Oh, the Dimmak, bro.
Yeah, something like that. He goes. Then the guy goes. The Persian guys goes. Brick don't hit back.
I have a funny story about the. I have a funny story about that Persian
Because
guy.
remember he
Yeah.
goes brick don't hit back.
That Persian guy is actually played by a Filipino dude.
No way.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a Filipino dude who was like from Hong Kong.
Oh, he goes. He just
And
made me
they just put a towel on his
Yeah,
head.
I guess
This
it
is
made me-
fucked.
I'm so impressed by how everyone here can get past how shitty they are. I can't get past
Like,
it. I can't get past how bad the
There's
acting
like
is.
certain levels
No.
of appreciation that you should
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
things in.
But
I
at the
think
same
so.
time, if you had to look at the 90s, right?
That's bad.
better marks. or
There was
VH.
there wasn't exactly. You're paying to see action. You weren't seeing.
You telling me Lethal Weapon wasn't good? Die Hard wasn't good?
That
was good.
That was great.
There was
man.
heaps of action films that were.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
but
Sure,
no.
but you're not paying for the quality of the acting, brother.
Listen to the premise of the story, right? A dude goes to fight in an underground death match.
Yeah.
You know
Why
this
would
is
I
based
wa-
on true
Hang on,
story.
hang on. Go on. Say what you're gonna say.
Like-
yeah.
If I was like a 13-year-old kid and I had to choose between that
Or Die
and
Hard.
like Die Hard, I'd be like, yeah, I want to watch the death match. Even though Die Hard's like up there for me, I'd rather watch the underground death match in Hong Kong. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, the movie is based on true story. You know that, right?
Which one? Bloodsport?
Bloodsport.
Yeah,
It's Frank Dux.
allegedly.
Alleged, Frank Dux, and he does all this chi fighting or chi master.
That's like the best part about Bloodsport is like that. Allegedly, it's a true story. The guy,
Yeah, Frank
dude,
Dux. Yeah,
like it's been disputed like a lot of times. Like, but the funny thing is that like he 100% in his heart believes that like this happened. This legitimately.
he's been
happened.
interviewed over and over about this, the Kumite. So that's why when I started laughing, I go Bloods. Oh, I didn't even know it was based on true
Kumite.
story.
But the Kumite is a real thing. That's 100-man.
Kumite,
Yeah.
yeah, but
They say it's a 100-man tournament.
Well, like this
In
is straight up real?
Kyokushin. In Kyokushin.
oh
no,
yeah,
no,
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 no, in the
Kyokushin
movie,
karate.
yeah.
No, I thought it was like the Hong Kong one he's talking about.
Yeah.
No, but what do you call this? The kumite is a real thing.
Yeah, I've seen the YouTube
Where do I sign
version.
up?
Nah.
Sign up for the kumite.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Miguel, haven't you heard that people die over there?
Yeah.
Only if it fuck up. There's a really good,
He goes- he
good
goes-
scene where he just punches his dick. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love your stories, right? Like,
Right.
I don't know what I'm gonna get with your stories, right? On Insta story, like,
Yeah.
it, all of a sudden I like Miguel's always good.
Yes.
I'm for a laugh. I press it and I go, and I see the scene and all I hear is you laughing after that. I go, oh man, I got to replay it. I'm
you
like,
know how
hang on
many-
a sec, I missed it the first time.
Do you know how many times I've watched it and still fucking laughed at it? Like, she just like snaps in, cracks him, and then like gets up dead serious. Like it was just like a thing.
Didn't you post a bloody photo from last week with Van Damme
Yeah,
doing
splitting.
the splits?
Yeah, the group shot.
Oh, the group shot. Yeah, that's right.
Listen, our group shots are getting, I don't know, like we've been teased a lot about it. We're really getting into fucking boy band.
because of the white gay.
And then it didn't help that Jaros had to like go onto his knee, like all serious going. Like back in the 80s, he did an 80s pose. And then this guy didn't help the situation by adding Van Damme.
Everything is improving. Van Damme.
yeah. I hope you can share that in this because it's
The Van
it's
Damme one.
this-
You still have it?
Yeah,
it's in the
I think so.
chat.
Yeah.
That's funny as.
Yeah,
Did you send that photo of the Tule?
Tule.
Yeah, I'll send that
Send
to
it.
you.
Send it in the
yeah,
WhatsApp. I want to put it
Tule
on there.
guys means circumcision, all right? Just letting you know. So it's not tulo, means
Tulo.
okay, it's different.
Is what's Tulo? What's Tulo?
Tule is circumcision. Tulo is